Good evening. Leading our news bulletin for tonight, Niue Meteorological Service would like to announce that Niue is now officially in the cyclone season. Director of Niue Meteorological Service, Sionita Sipoletoa, said they want to provide effective and efficient land and marine forecasts and warnings to aid the protection of lives and properties of the people of Niue, and they want to urge the public to be well prepared. Likewise, they also want to inform the public of this natural phenomenal activity, hence for better preparation processes and understanding of precautionary methods to take leading up to the event, before the event, and during the potential tropical cyclone event. The department wished to advise the public to listen into radio for updates. Mr. Poletoa said the number of tropical cyclones to affect Niue is expected to be normal to slightly above normal this season. A range of 2 to 3 cyclones to affect Niue is very likely based on the analog guidance for Niue. The time period for Niue when tropical cyclone risk is going to be the highest this season is January to April 2013, but an early season storm cannot also be ruled out. February and March are usually the busiest months with tropical cyclone activity anyway, which is consistent from year to year. The main message and priority for the people of Niue is to ensure they are prepared for any unforeseen cyclone or natural disaster during this cyclone season. Today marks a milestone in government's plans to relocate the Niue Primary School to Paliasi with the blessing of the land site. In a brief blessing ceremony, Premier Tokitalangi elaborated on the history of how the project came about and also extended government's appreciation to the landowners and also to the Australian government. A spokesperson for the landowners, Honourable Frank Louis, conveyed the thoughts and hopes of those who have generously offered land towards this project. The first stages of the relocation are well underway, with building plans and land leases sorted out. Premier Tokitalangi says that the main concern for the government was the safety of the children, with posed risks of the current location and buildings.
Part of the reasons why in fact, one of the main reasons why we're shifting up there is simply because the current school isn't safe and is prone to probable damage in a major earthquake. So I wasn't happy about an engineering report which indicated that could be the case. That's part of the reasons why in discussions with the Australian government, they agreed that they would put in $4 million so that we would be able to shift the school and remove the risks that are involved with our children staying in the school we have at the present time. And that's, I want to thank the Australian government, I want to thank the landowners, and I want to thank the people who are involved at the present moment, the Education Department and so on, for their involvement in ensuring that we can get this thing done. The other thing that I should add is that the USP is also talking to us about the possibilities of what can we do up at the school to make Paliasi the hub of education services and so on. And we're talking with them about the possibilities of linking whatever USP is doing with the high school as well as the primary school and so on. They've really supported us with internet services as well as emergency power generation up at the school. I understand that's now been linked. So if there's a power breakdown, the school will continue to operate with the power generator from USB. So all of those things are helping. But in essence, on Thursday, we're just going up to talk to them to bless the site and thank the people who contributed.
The planned relocation makes logistical sense considering the Niue High School and the University of the South Pacific are also at Paliasi. The addition of the primary school will work in line with the government's plans for the area at Paliasi to become the educational hub on the island. Building designs have been done with guidance from a local consultant and an Australian company. The area, according to the Premier, should be sufficient for the purpose of the relocation.
It'll be sufficient to build the primary school buildings. It's just down from the rugby field or down from the current new high school and to the right of USB. It's big enough, and we're very pleased that we have that piece of land to use for that purpose.
Premier Talangi says that buildings should begin early next year and the intention is for completion by June, but that will be dependent on how quick land can be developed. Niue Quarantine this morning issued an advisory for allowing importers that all consignments and containers bound for Niue on sea vessels are subject to import conditions and requirements from the Niue Quarantine Service. According to Quarantine Officer Niue Away, containers and consignments originated from New Zealand are allowed entry into Niue without further inquiries to the Niue Quarantine Service, but will still go through the inspection protocols on arrival. This condition may change at any time depending on the decision from the Niue Quarantine Service. Containers and consignments from countries outside of New Zealand are subject to the Department's quarantine import conditions and requirements. The consignments would be assessed through a pest risk analysis according to the country of origin, which would be implemented by the Niue Quarantine Service. The Niue Quarantine would decide and inform the importer or an appropriate treatment prior for export to Niue. The department said the advisory is to assist the department have better control and better protection from pests and diseases that may affect the environment. All importers need to notify the department regarding import conditions. Failure to comply with the Niue Quarantine Service import conditions for all imported consignments from countries outside of New Zealand would be subject to reshipment at owner's expense or further treatments or destruction by an order from the Director of Agriculture. Niue Quarantine advised people to be mindful when preparing to import goods to the island and allow enough time for process. Recent bushfire outbreaks continue to raise concerns as people keep ignoring messages to stop burning fires during this dry period. Over the past few months, there have been approximately 4 bushfires that have gone out of control. One even lasted 2 weeks, raising havoc and heartache for farmers, causing extensive loss and damage to crops. The most recent fire at a coconut plantation not far from the airport yesterday had some locals worried, as the area was immersed in smoke that reached as far as the hospital. Niue's Fire Division says they have not been able to assist or respond due to there being only one fire engine, and that is needed for airport operations on flight days. But the message is for people to use common sense and not contribute to disasters that are preventable. Whether or not there is a need for a complete fire ban is a decision yet to be made by the Niue Disaster Council. Water is an important resource for human survival, and the quality of the water provided also has an impact on the health of the people. This week, water quality was the focus of capacity building training facilitated by a senior technician from the University of the South Pacific. The SOPAC-funded training looked at raising the capacity of staff from the Health Department, Water Supply Division and the Environment Department to do water quality tests. Water quality testing measures the condition of the water relative to the requirements of human need or purpose. It is also crucial that those with lab testing facilities such as the Public Health Division at the Health Department are able to conduct proper testing of water on the island. Practical training sessions had participants taking a hands-on approach to test water from the different bore sites around the island. The benefits of the joint training will give an opportunity to build the capacity of staff across the board and ensure some continuity. That concludes our news bulletin for tonight. We do hope that you can join us again next week for our next news bulletin and enjoy the weekend ahead, especially those who will be taking part in the rugby.